I have a new TV show on Newsmax TV on Saturdays at 7:30. Tune in. You'll enjoy it.
As the 19th century drew to a close, a lot of our most enlightened leaders believed that a war would be very good for the United States, that we needed a war. They felt that the wounds of the Civil War would not be fully healed until North and South fought side by side against a foreign enemy. They thought a war would raise the moral tone of the people. That was before the days when wars were wholesale slaughter. And they thought it would be a morally uplifting experience. The leading practitioners of this point of view were Henry Cabot Lodge, the senator from Massachusetts, the chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee, and Theodore Roosevelt, his best friend, who was active in politics in New York. At the time, I think he was the police commissioner, and many others who had that point of view. President McKinley, William McKinley, was opposed to going to war unless it was absolutely necessary. The excuse for a war came in Cuba, where the Cuban rebels were rebelling against the outrageous and exploitive dictatorship of Spain in that country. And the Spanish Empire throughout the world was kind of ripe for pickings. Spain had faded as a military power, and yet it retained control over Hawaii, the Philippines, Cuba, and outposts throughout the world. And as America became stronger, recovered from the Civil War, became the world's leading industrial power, all at the end of the 19th century, a lot of imperialists felt that America needed foreign conquests, it needed an empire to assume its rank among nations like Britain and France did. That was the same impulse that led Germany on a similar course of expansion that ultimately ended in World Wars I and II. But this one was more benign because it only ended in the Spanish-American War in 1898, a harmless little affair where fewer than 1,000 people died in combat. More than that died of yellow fever. But it was a very short war, and it gave the United States control of much of the old Spanish Empire, particularly the Philippines. The war was started allegedly when Spain was supposed to have blown up the battleship Maine, the American battleship that was stationed in Havana Harbor. Well, there was an explosion. Many Americans were killed and the boat was destroyed. But there was never any proof that Spain did it, or any real evidence that Spain did it. But the American newspapers wanted a war. They wanted the circulation that would bring them. They wanted the sensationalism. And led by Joseph Pulitzer, for whom oddly the Pulitzer Prize was named, which he didn't deserve, became the leading spokesman for the war and harangued against Spain. And when the battleship Maine blew up, demanded action from McKinley. And the crescendo for military reprisals was so intense that McKinley gave way and signed the bill starting the Spanish-American War. The war was a dandy little affair that really helped America build up its prestige, and in particular gave Theodore Roosevelt a national platform because he left his job in New York and as police commissioner and went to Cuba and charged up San Juan Hill, taking it from the Spanish forces. And his exploits led to his election as governor, vice president, and then his ascension to the presidency. But this was one of the clearest instances of American history of making a war out of nothing at all because of a biased news media that wanted it to boost their own circulation. Thanks for watching.